Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today for Cooking Up History. This is such an exciting occasion for us for many reasons. One of them being this is the first time we're back on the cooking demo stage in over 2 years, and we are so thrilled. Yes, we're so happy to be here with Chef Silvana Salcido Esparza, and I will give a little intro to her in a second, but I have a few housekeeping announcements to go over before we get into the nitty-gritty of our cooking demo, so bear with me today. So I would like to say a huge thanks to our wonderful sister museum, the National Museum of the American Latino, who is collaborating with us today for this beautiful festival and co-hosting this Cooking Up History with us. We are just thrilled to be partnering with them on this demo. I'd also like to introduce Cooking Up History to you. This might be your first demo that you've been to at the museum. And before the pandemic, we put on these wonderful hour-long cooking demos and conversations that last about an hour. And we bring in a fantastic guest chef, and we talk about their personal history. We talk about stories told here in the Museum of American History. And then we relate that to the objects on display and issues that are really pressing in our everyday lives. So that's the kind of theme and the story and the kind of culture we try to cultivate here on the cooking demo stage. I'd also like to say, if you are a social media maven, and I see some of you out there in the audience, I'm sure, please use the hashtag Smithsonian Food to share video, images. We'd love getting the word out about our events. Now, I imagine you might be smelling the fantastic aroma of the food that we're making here today. If your stomach is already rumbling, I encourage you after the demo to head down to our museum cafe, where we're actually offering the dish we're preparing here for sale in the cafe downstairs on the lower level. So, like I said, it's hard not to have your stomach rumbling when you're here for these demos. So we do have a way of taste testing, but it is down in our museum cafe for lunch. And last but not least, I have 2 more things to say. We are taking questions throughout the cooking demonstration. So if there's, a clarification on what we're doing on stage, you want to ask Chef, please raise your hand and one of our fantastic staff members will bring a microphone to you. And please wait for that microphone before asking your question. And then last but not least, I can't continue on without thanking our sponsors. We are so grateful to Dr. Stephanie Bennett-Smith and also to Wegmans Food Markets for bringing these cooking demos to you, bringing them back to the stage here at the museum. So thank you so much. And again, Chef, welcome, Chef Silvana, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. We are so happy to have you here today. I think of you as a mentor already. We've spent a few days together, but I'm just in awe of your culinary talents, your activism, your role in the community. But we want to share that with our audience here today.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this. Why don't you introduce yourself, let our audience know who you are and what you're all about, what you're hoping to share with them today.
Thank you for that introduction.
Absolutely.
Buenas tardes. Is it tardes yet? Okay, now it's tardes. One of the things in Mexico that we big on is salutations. And one of the things that Americans are not big on is salutations on the street. Somebody looks at you, you say hello. You don't say, hey, what you looking at, man? I am Silvana Salcido Esparza. I am a Mexican chef. Wait, let me back up. I'm a chef who is Mexican. I hate that, Mexican stash American, right? I don't have to be categorized to be a chingona. Chingona means badass food in a PG version. It's slang, it's Mexican slang. A lot of the Mexican words that we use turn into slang. A lot of them have an indigenous origin that have survived. But anyway, I'm a lowrider. And so my parents came as immigrants to this country. I live in Arizona. I'm a Californian by birth. I'm a Mexican by nationality and by privilege and by luck. My father comes from colonizing founders of Chihuahua. We are the founding family of Chihuahua. That means nothing to me. We're also Tepehuanes, is the land that they colonize. My mother's side colonized most of Mexico. I still retain the colonizing name of Esparza, Lope Ruiz de Esparza, conquistador, who married Moctezuma's daughter, is my ancestor. That means Moctezuma is my ancestor as well. Not proud of any of that. What I am proud of is my grandmother's indigenous Tarahumara upbringing in my household. She did hide the fact that she was Tarahumara. Why do you think that is? Right? If you go into the museum, over here in the museum in the Latino, you'll read about the caste system that existed through the Spaniards in Mexico. And that's why she hid it, because she was lesser than everybody else. My mother was born white. And when I say white, white, like Irish white. And that gave her the license to say, no, I'm Mexican, I'm just, de Española. When in fact she was 100% Tarahumara. Didn't know how to read or write. I'm proud of that. Having said that, I also come from 800 years, over 800 years, of Spanish-Mexican baking legacy. We have had a gastronomic play in Mexico's history in Chihuahua since the inception of colonization. Also, prior to that, we could trace it back to medieval times in the mid-1200s, where my ancestor was the royal pastry chef to the King of Spain, Alfonso el Sabio, who turned out to be my ancestor as well. My cousins married cousins, you know how that goes. I bet you a lot of you people that would never think that we're related, somewhere back there we're related, right? And that's the irony of the bloodlines. See, in Mexico, it's a nationality. Look at this beautiful escudo mexicano. You see that? That is the crest of the flag. It is when the Aztecs were looking for their land, they were looking for a sign, and the sign came in a serpent being devoured by the eagle on top of a cactus called nopal. And if that's not Mexican, I don't know what is. Yeah. We're big on that. So having said that, and being in a museum, let's talk about some history, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about some history. The avocado comes from where? Anybody know? Mexico. Now you know. All right. In fact, Mexico gave you 32 gifts to the world. If you go to the Indigenous Museum, the Native American Museum, and go to the restaurant, right before you enter, you will see a display case with a translation of those gifts from the Americas to the world. I feel like Madonna with this thing on. Yeah. Any minute, I'm going to start breaking down. Yeah. I had, first of all, I like to apologize. I had shoulder surgery. If you ever had that before, it's not fun. So the first thing we're going to do to get this out of the way and to start cooking, all right?
All right, absolutely. We're going to do guacamole, right?
Let's do the guacamole. So I have my hands here.
That's me.
La mano. The avocado comes originally, and the tree's still there, from Michoacan. It's the Hass avocado. There's many different varieties of avocados. If you live in Florida, you probably see them hanging on the trees. That's not the kind you use for this. Specifically, Hass. Even like in Mexico, they have the really small avocados. That is just an avocado you eat with the skin on and everything. It has to be a Hass. We scored it, and there it is. Okay. Now, this is my recipe. It's not good with carne asada. It's a appetizer. It's a chips kind of thing. It's like a salad, right? Because the key is to keep, go ahead, take that pit out. You guys know that trick? Twist it, it comes out. All right, so kind of clean that off right there. Okay. And then we're going to cut that off.
Ooh,
yeah.
Get that out of there.
Just get it out of there.
Sometimes, it's hard to get good avocados here.
This side of Mississippi is very hard to get avocados.
So is this the right, Chef? I'm just going
just
in,
go ahead and
lightly?
score it on a grid.
Okay. Get my spoon.
Mm-hmm. And then you're just going to take the spoon and pull it out. Remember this when we're doing this guacamole.
Just a little bit.
And guacamole is, aguacate and guacamole are both indigenous words. This is not a mashed, right? Everybody knows guacamole, they mash it, they break it down. The more you work the avocado, the more the flavor changes. So we're going to keep it as integral as possible to really, although I could tell you right now, this is not going to knock your socks off because this avocado looks like it needs a little bit more help. Like here, this one is barely ripe, but when you get to it, it has pieces. Here, let's work that in there too.
Okay.
I just cut some of that brown out, please.
All right.
Hate to waste.
I might just scoop it out. Is it soft enough though?
Right. That, but make sure you cut it because if you scoop it in, and it's going to change the.
This one's a little softer than the
it?
other one.
It's got better color too. See how this one?
So, Chef, is this a guacamole that you serve at your restaurant?
Yeah, we do
Barrio
it table
Café?
side.
Okay.
Our avocados are what's called A1 plus. We pay premiums. I've paid as much as $6 for an avocado. But I guarantee that every avocado, it took me about a year of yelling at everybody. But they're handpicked, put in a box just for the restaurant. Because you don't want to be doing this table side and it's all hard or brown spots. So avocados are picked in different grades.
I'm just taking that brown stuff out real quick.
So the avocado, I was saying, it comes from Michoacan, Mexico. This is, did you guys know that the avocado is America's #1 snack food during Super Bowl?
Ooh,
Right?
I didn't know
What does
that.
everybody
I
have
love
to
that,
have?
Chef.
Guacamole. Here's the thing, Monday.
Oh, sorry, can you wait for the microphone so that everyone can hear? So I think we have an audience question in the second row on this side.
Here,
Or you can repeat
She
the
just wanted
question.
to say, where is my restaurant? Phoenix, Arizona. In Phoenix, Arizona, I am the queen of Mexican food. Do not go to Barrio Queen. It's Barrio Café. That's a long story. We could get into that. It's just appropriation and thievery. But speaking of appropriation and thievery, let me, before we go on, I just want to tell you this about the avocado. Avocado comes from Michoacan. Here's the problem. There's 2 places that grow avocados. You guys hear the California Avocado Advisory, right? Sponsored by, you get to California, LA, and it's like, welcome to LA, and there's a big old avocado. Problem is, they're not indigenous to Ojai, California. So they require a lot more water. San Joaquin Valley is dying. It's being converted back into a desert because of farming. The San Joaquin Valley feeds the world. We have a problem. Growing out of indigenous places is causing that. So your avocados from Mexico have taken over. The problem is cartels. The same drug cartels are now becoming avocado cartels. And that's what the Mexican government and the growers are having to deal with. Fortunately, the growers have bigger guns because there's a lot of money. We call this green gold. So, and there's a reason, because it's delicious, it's nutritious, and it's Mexicano. So,
all right, what goes in next? We got a little more brown bits in here.
Yeah, we're gonna just pop that one out.
Let's pop them out.
We're gonna pop. Look, we're not feeding anybody. I want it pretty.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Yes, Chef.
Okay, so my mama taught me a lot of the stuff. I went to culinary school. I've traveled, and I'll tell you about it in a minute. But it was my mama, mi mami. She taught me that you salt before you acid. All right? You sugar before you acid. So if you're making lemonade, you sugar your water first, then you add the acid. Otherwise, you're going to be adding more sugar or more salt. So I added kosher salt. sea salt. I don't like iodine salt. It leaves a flavor. That's more like a table finishing salt. We're gonna go to taste. Here, would you do me a favor?
Yeah, what do you need?
I'm not left-handed, I'm right-handed. Here, hold on. Chilito, así o más? Like this or more? Okay, más. All right. A little bit of onion, please.
Okay. We'll put a little bit of onion in.
Más. You know what?
The whole thing? All right.
Dale,
We're going
guys.
for
Pa' que andamos con...
it. All right.
All right.
And some
Now, here's the deal.
cilantro.
And that's cilantro. So we got onion, tomato, cilantro. Beautifully cut, by the way. And we're gonna toss it gently. Make sure we get that salt in there. That's important.
And so what's your technique here? I see we're not like, it's not a salad toss.
No,
You
it's
said it's more of a...
a folding.
Yeah.
Very much like, I can't see here. There we go. Lime juice, fresh squeezed. You want one good plump lime. It's al gusto, which means to taste. My mouth is watering.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so since you're my hands, I need you to tell me, how's that salt?
Oh, my pleasure. All right, let's see here. I'm going in. And I missed it. I'm nervous. It's been over 2 years. Let me try again.
Food history.
You know, I'm used to having books in my hands. It's actually perfect.
That's perfect?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You guys know that, right? When you see your food, you need salt, you know how much to add. So something like this, finishing, it's to taste. Excuse me. Mamá. Ya me puedo casar otra vez. Okay. Now, here's the finisher.
You
You know what I need? Let's put this on a plate.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to. That avocado's not so bad to be all spotty like that.
Amazing. All right, the whole thing?
Nah, yeah,
Just a
sure.
little like,
We're gonna make it pretty.
beautiful.
Oh, look at that. Right there.
okay.
Okay. Now. Pomegranates are not from Mexico. They came in from Spain. But Mexicans know how to use them. Same thing with tamarind. What we do with tamarind, nobody else does in the world.
Wow.
And look at, isn't that beautiful?
It's gorgeous.
Isn't that something you would wow? Look at that. You know, normally I would have picked you to come up here and make it, and I would have picked you and you to come over here and taste it. This is Smithsonian, I can't do that. So you get to look at it. And guess what? You go home and make it, because anybody can make this. It's a la minute, which means on the minute, right? On the spot. Are we ready to move on?
I'm ready
Any
to move
questions
on.
about guacamole?
Okay. Here we go.
All right,
And
so we have
the
questions over here.
microphone coming
And let
up.
me tell you, the avocado is magical. It's not limited to guacamole, right? It's a finisher. It's avocado toast. That little kid should be making an avocado song. Yes, sir.
What's the first thing you added to the avocado?
The first thing I added was jalapeno, diced jalapeno, but you could use serrano, which is more flavorful but spicier, right? Or you can use habanero, which is super, super. You want to change the profile? Go right ahead, but those two flavors fit this style of guacamole, serrano or jalapeno.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
We have another question over here. Oh, back there.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
So my question was, how does the flavor of the avocado change as you mash it up?
Okay, good. Have you ever noticed that when you cut your avocado, you cut it and you walk away, do something else, when you come back, it's already turning brown? It's oxidation, right? The air hits it. So the more you incorporate air, the more you're changing the flavor. It's got to be some chemical thing, right? There's different use. This would never taste good, I promise you, because I've tried it. with a steak or a carne asada or on a taco or, ooh, put this on top of you. No. When I see people eating that way in the restaurant, I'm like, oh, man. Come here, I want to teach you how to eat it right. Because I made this as this. This stands out. And I can tell you why I came up with it. One of my favorite flavors is a fresh pressed tortilla, kosher salt, and a slice of avocado. The purity, the corn, and then you taste that fat from the avocado. It's delicious. So I wanted to keep that integral as close as I could, and I came up with that. I do this dish as well with raspberries. You could put dried figs. What else can you put on there? Strawberries, right? So it's that contrast that I'm looking for.
That sounds so good, Chef. I hate to kind of rush us along to
Let's
the
go.
next dish, but time flies when you're having fun.
All right, this is easy. We're just gonna pickle some onions, right? We're gonna take onions, they're here.
So we're pickling the onions because the showstopper recipe for today is going to be cochinita pibil. Do you want to tell our audience a little bit about that? And then, why we're making these onions to go with it.
Absolutely. So the pickling of the onion, I'm using sour orange.
It smells good.
Right? And that is did I just use, oh no, you knew it, you knew.
Kitchen
Busted.
manager, Chef Kathy Fung, so you'll see her up here helping us throughout the program.
And Kathy told me, hey chef, you're gonna need more than more sour orange. And I went, oh, I just used all my sour orange, but she told me I would need more. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want this.
Ooh, look at that.
I don't know if you can see the difference. Color. These have pickled 24 hours. You can blanch them, or you could just put them in a container, season them, and call it a day.
So does the cut of the onion matter? Because these are julienne.
These are julienne. No, it does not matter. You could big fat pieces. You could put, for example, an habanero in there, and just drop an habanero, and now you have a spicy pickle. Or you could put slices of any pepper. There's so many peppers. I don't know what you can get on this side, but you can get them online.
And so you put bay leaf in there. We've got garlic,
and
peppercorn.
and that's it. And some peppercorn, and that's it. And you will get this beautiful. Look at that color, right? You can put this on a salad. Chef, you outdid yourself. And these will hold in your refrigerator. Do some cauliflower.
How long will they last?
6 months in the refrigerator. Yeah.
And you don't need to have it in like a super special sealed container or anything.
Just a pickling jar or a jar.
Ooh.
Isn't it delicious? Okay. Next, we're gonna move on.
We're gonna move on here. And ooh, that's so sour and delicious.
So
it's catching in my throat. So
all right.
We're here, Chef.
We are here.
Before we dive into this recipe, can we build the context though of the Lowrider? Like this whole program was inspired by the amazing lowrider that you may have seen, Dave's Dream, walking in on the first floor here. That was made by Dave Jaramillo from New Mexico. We collected it as the museum in 1992, but we're so happy to have it on display again. And actually one of my really good colleagues here and friends, Steve Velasquez, he's over there. So wave, Steve, on your right-hand side, is the curator of that amazing object. And we really wanted to celebrate the culinary culture, the community aspect of lowriding. It's not just a car. So can you tell us
not just a car.
about that?
So when our parents got to this country as immigrants, many of them didn't even drive back in Mexico or have cars. So what does an immigrant do? He buys a 10-year-old car, more or less. You get here in the 50s, you're buying a carcacha from the 30s or the 40s. Your kids grow up, you still have that car. Maybe you moved on to a station wagon now, but that car still exists because it's your first American car. Your kid starts driving it, and that is where the lowrider culture started. Also, the fact that the zoot suits. You guys know about the zoot suit riots? When the Latino Museum is constructed and finished, I am certain that there will be a zoot suit riots exhibit because it's a very, very important part of our Mexican-American culture. The African American culture had the Cotton Club, remember that? The history of the jazz and the cotton clubs. And they started dressing what was called zoot suits. Big hats, big feathers, big lapels and shoulder pads, baggy pants, extra, lots of extra. And that was picked up by an actor in Mexico, an actor, dancer, comedian named Tintan from Juarez, from Chihuahua, my dad's home state. So the Mexican culture picked it up as well. Like, whoa, the brothers are looking fly. So they started looking fly. And that was the zoot suits. They became zoot suiters. But in LA, they were called pachucos. These pachucos would roam around during World War II in LA looking all proud with a stance and a walk. You know, you got a certain orale, a certain salute, right? And that's the birth of the Chicano culture. But white people hated that. So Marines, Navy, general population in LA one night decided to take clubs, their fist, and they went out looking for brown people and beat them. And then the police came and did the same thing, like a cherry on top, and then arrested everybody, the brown people. So, as a retaliation, or as a, oh really? Well, let me show you then. That has been the birth of Chicano culture. Right? So it's the oppression that causes us to stand out even more. The lowriders, now I told you 2 sources for lowriders, there's many. For me, my parents came in the 50s. We weren't part of the Zoot Suit riots. I grew up in Merced, California, the salad bowl, I just told you, right? The salad bowl of the world. There were no cholos or pachucos or lowriders in the 70s or in the 60s where I grew up. However, by 1976, I was one of the first ones in my city to start lowriding because I was privileged. My dad had a bakery, he had lots of cars. My brothers were hot rodders. Well, I didn't go cruising, I went lowriding. And I was part of Los Carnales Unidos, which is now celebrating like 45 years. Wow. However, as a female, I was not allowed to be in the club. I didn't get the jacket, I didn't get the t-shirt. I just got to go with the cool car, right? Today, I am vice president of Viejitos Car Club. We're worldwide. Right? We don't stand down. You know, lowriders used to say, a woman's place was right here next to me as we go cruising. Now there's clubs that are existing that female only. Is it exclusive to the Chicano culture? No, because Mexico's now picking up on it. Japan has picked up on it so much that there's an entire city where the youth and the culture is car culture. It is Chicano culture. They fly our flag. They tattoo with LA. Right? Now, is that appropriation? No, it's not. We totally applaud that. In fact, I'll be going to the lowrider shows in Japan. Why is that difference between, let's say, Taco Bell taking our tacos and somebody in Japan taking our culture? What's the difference? That's a lot to think about, right? It's a heavy question. For me, that's total appreciation and love. Over here, the Taco Bell, excuse Taco Bell, it's everybody that does that. It's appropriation because it's culture vulture, it is capitalism. Big difference. And I just had to drop that in there. Okay, moving along.
All right.
And that is so my mother was like, ay, qué feo, pero qué es eso? Put on high heels. Why are you wearing those shoes? To my poor sister. My poor sister would be like, that's my culture. My mother did not understand our culture. So I've had to grapple with the fact that I'm a Mexicana, born in the United States, but I'm also a Chicana. I belong to Mecha. I've done UFW walks. I have protested. I boycotted. That's mine. My mother had her own things in Mexico, Pancho Villa and all that stuff. I had Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, and cultural pride. So having said that, let's move on. This is a pork butt, or is it a shoulder or a butt, chef? Shoulder, the bone in. I like bone in. You could do either cut, by the way. But I like bone in because the bone is where? The flavor is where? In the bone. On the other side, you can see we cleaned up the fat. You do want to leave a little bit of fat on this because that's where the flavor's at. That's why I'm flavorful. I leave just enough fat. So this dish is the mother of American barbecue. What did I just say? I did a barbecue tour where I traveled the South and the Deep South, 17 states. And I learned a lot. I wanted to learn the American culture, Southern food. It's not my culture. I don't know anything other than it's good and makes you fat. So I wanted to learn the history, the difference between African American soul food and Southern food. According to Adrian Miller, Dr. Adrian Miller, Southern food is the bland mother of soul food. That's a beautiful way to put it. So, barbecue is the bland child of cochinita pibil. Food pathways. Way over 1,000 years old, this dish. Mayan culture. Mayan is one of the oldest cultures in the Americas, well, one of the more brilliant cultures in the Americas. They gave us a lot of things, but they gave us pit cooking and barbecuing. The pibil, which means under earth in Mayan, food pathways went north of Mexico City into the state of Hidalgo. In that area, which is all that region, became what the Aztecs called chichimecas. Chichimecas means barbarian, and not what so these barbarians, because they were nomadic and semi-nomadic, they didn't have the big pyramids, for example, as the Aztecs. They were looked down upon. But it was the chichimeca culture that took the pibil and made it into barbacoa. It was the Spaniards that named it barbacoa, which is a Taino word they picked up in the Caribbean. But the style of cooking, pit cooking, is 100% Mayan, picked up by the chichimecas, and then many years later, in a thing called border sharing, taught to the American cowboy. American cowboys started cooking that way, and then Industrial Revolution comes, metalworks, convenience. Next thing I know, you're barbecuing in your house, you're smoking, and you didn't even know that happened, right? So now you know, barbecue comes from where? Mexico. Mexico. Okay. So this is achiote. Achiote is a brick of spices that is made from the anato, the seed of the anato plant. It's a tropical plant, so you'll find this, the seed used in Jamaica, in Cuba, but nobody does what the Mayans did with it, which is make a recado. Recado is a combination of all these spices, chilies. El Yucateco is the premier brand. It's not always available at your local Latino mercado. You'll find Goya, which is all salt. This is what you want. You can order online. I recommend you try it. It's smoky. It's flavorful. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to please. Yeah. You got this?
I'm ready to massage,
all right.
Or Kathy
massage
can massage,
away.
Whatever you need.
So while she's doing that, we're going to talk a little bit.
All right.
All right? Yeah.
So what are we mixing together here? You have the achiote paste, more sour orange? Always.
Sour orange. And
always.
That's what was indigenous to the region, right? So, of course, yes. Mexico has over 30 different varieties of oregano. This is the general variety you buy here in the United States. She knows what she's doing. Okay.
It's like she's done this before.
Yeah. So she's just going to break it down into the sour orange to give us a slurry or a paste that looks like that.
That's beautiful.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take this, and then a lot of salt. For some reason, have you ever noticed that pork likes salt more? Have you noticed that, Chef? Pork says, give me more salt. For some reason, and you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that, right?
Yeah, we have our camera over
All right. It has got plenty of salt. In fact, I think we need more.
Great. Do you need me to flip that for you, or are we just putting it
No,
on the
we're just
top?
doing it on one side.
Okay, great.
And on the sides, right? So, hey, barbecue, what do you do in barbecue? You give it a hard crust, right? So, for, I don't know, 12 years I was serving this in the restaurant, straight to the oven. But it was missing one thing to make it more authentic, and that was the smoke. So after that barbecue tour in 2017, I came back and had a big, giant smoker built in the back of the restaurant. So now we smoke it for 2 hours, then we let it rest, cover it back up, put it back together, and then put it in the oven overnight, low and slow, which is a lower degree than the recipe calls for. We don't know what it is because our oven's old, but it's low. But it's low and slow. When we come back and open it, it just falls apart. All right.
And so for the home cook who isn't necessarily going to smoke it, what do you do if you have
Straight to the oven.
You straight to the oven. And can you explain to us these beautiful,
Absolutely.
beautiful not secret, the key elements?
Well, banana leaves are going to retain the moisture, but actually, unlike corn husk that we use for tamales, you can use banana leaves for tamales as well. It imparts a flavor, and it's very herbaceous. And that really is a double. So it's leaving a flavor, and it's also causing a seal to be able to steam this on the inside.
And there's a little bit of prep that you have to do. So you can get these at your local Latino market, maybe packaged.
Well, that's the problem, right? So if you can get them fresh from here at the museum, they have them outside. You can go cut them. But I know somebody said that you can't get them fresh. I go, no, I saw them yesterday. I'll be right back. And that's what happened to my arm. But if you can get them fresh, fine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut the spine. You're going to cut the outside, and then put them on the flame, or maybe hot water. But they have to become pliable. See, otherwise they will break, like this. I mean, look. This one has been frozen, and that's why it's very pliable. If it wasn't frozen, it would just break like this. Okay. So that's very important that you do that. All right.
So you've added salt. Now you've rubbed it with a little bit of garlic, minced garlic.
And I need you to put lots of black pepper on that.
Absolutely.
There,
I'll get the little our black pepper cranker. It's a fun one. All right, I'm gonna come in here.
Vale, gas.
I feel
Más.
it's good. So let me know when, Chef. Good thing I went to the gym earlier. No, just kidding.
Yeah, but now you're gonna be like Popeye with one lopsided. Más. So it's a hard crust. Barbecue. Who barbecues here? Anybody? Oh, you guys are not. There you go. Usually it's like you go to Texas. Who barbecues? All right.
All right, we feeling good?
Yeah.
All right, great.
You know, food pathways, right? So you see what American barbecue has grown to be, even today, right? There's regional barbecue. You go to North Carolina, you got vinegar. Why? Because they got apples. You go to South Carolina, it's got mustard. Why? Because they grew mustard. You go to Texas, it's just got smoke. Because that's all they got. It's nothing in Texas. I love Texas, though. All right, look how beautiful that is.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
With that paste, we could do, for example, chicken. You take chicken and you baste it, let it marinate, put it on the grill. Ay, mama. Go ahead, Chef. You already got the gloves. About half of that. That's good.
And so, Kathy, Chef, you were making sure that there's no more lumps, right, left from the achiote paste. You want it
Correct.
to be nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth, and at this consistency. You see how it's kind of moving, but it's not falling? That's called a nappe, when you're able to put your finger through it and it doesn't run. Yeah. Oh no. Oops.
That's why we
Ooh.
got aprons on.
I was waiting for it to. Usually, we're just gonna do it, right? Can you guys see that? Isn't that beautiful?
It's gorgeous.
All right. Can you give me the bay leaf and put that on top? We're gonna add more oregano. Can you do the oregano?
Absolutely.
The oregano, you don't do whole. You have to do this movement.
As much as we can with our little gloves.
Yeah.
I'm not touching the meat.
These
so.
gloves are nice though.
And is it that the natural oils get released a little bit when
Yes.
you press it?
And just a little bit more salt. Yeah, there you go. See,
A little more
all that
oregano?
good stuff. No, that's good.
Okay, great.
All right, because there's some already in the.
Oh, it smells good.
All
The
right,
oregano
now we're
is
gonna
great.
put it together. Now, here's the deal. You have to have moisture, otherwise it's gonna come out dry. So we're gonna add more sour orange. You could also add, if you don't have sour orange where y'all from, you could take, not an orange, but you could take lemon and grapefruit and make a mixture and use that as your acid and it will work. Now go ahead and put all that, why waste?
Why waste?
Because that makes juguito, you know, the juice, and then, oh, you know what? You can make it with tortillas, but also my favorite is bread. Crusty loaf or a baguette or a bolillo, pan blanco, and you make a torta, a sandwich with this, and then like in the French, you take the top and you dip it in the juice.
Ooh,
Oh!
Sounds so good.
And you will, chefsilvana.com, you will thank me later.
I love it.
No, yeah, because it will be too much. Okay, but we're gonna save a little bit of that. Oh, now wrap it, and you're
like
gonna put
a
it in the
present.
oven.
And do we need foil or anything
So
additional?
what I recommend is if you put foil reacts. You know how foil reacts to certain foods. So we're gonna go ahead and tint it because this is nice and high. But if yours is not, I would use parchment paper. Parchment paper in the oven, nothing happens. Okay, so. I want to go back to the lowriders for a minute.
Yes, absolutely.
And food. I was saying, you know, it's not my mother's culture, it's my culture. So what is the food of a lowrider? Because it's about family, it's about community, and most importantly what I love is there's a purpose, right? With lowriding, we get to hold events and do tour drives in the winter. We do underwear and sock drive in the spring. We use our cars to do fundraisers to support people. People have even asked to use our cars for their weddings. You know. So being a lowrider is actually another vehicle for me to be of community service, right? And changing those erroneous perceptions that exist, such as we're a gang. I might look like one, but promise you I'm not a gang member. It's the erroneous perceptions that people have about what they don't understand. So my purpose is to stand here today before you and explain lowrider community. Dave's dream, his family finished that car after he passed away. It's at the Smithsonian. It's a Ford LTD. We don't do that anymore. Ford LTDs. We do Chevrolet. But it's at the Smithsonian. It was his dream, his car that he did. I have lowrider in a Volkswagen convertible. I have lowrider in a 72 Monte Carlo. I currently lowrider in a 65 Impala convertible, a 41 panel, which is very rare, and I have a 1950 Styline, which was the first car my dad bought when he got to the United States. It's not his car, but I bought it in that memory. And then it's a tribute car to my nephew, who was a UFW fighter and who was murdered. So it's a tribute car. It goes on display. It wins first place. I have put way too much money into it. It goes up and down. It's all pretty. It sounds great. But when I drive that car, or any of the cars, I'm in lo mío, in the culture. Hasta luego. A ustedes. By the way, yesterday is Mexico's Independence Day. Y viva Mexico, señores. We're still celebrating. All right, let's get going here. Did you turn this on, Chef? Yeah, she did. All right. So we're just going to heat up a tortilla, because I want to play a little bit. Chef, can I get that pan for the... And I wanted to just talk a little bit of... That's on, right? That one. Oh, no, this one's big. This one's got a bigger BTU,
And
right?
while we get this working too, I just want to mention we do have printouts of the recipes that we are making on stage today. So if you're wondering, wait, was it 1 bay leaf or 2? How many pounds of pork? We have that info available for you on our printouts and also on our Cooking Up History website. We have PDFs of the recipes as well. So don't fret if you're scribbling, writing all the words you can down. We have that info for you.
I wanted to smoke up the gallery and close it down and stuff like that. Then I could go, All right, so we're going to make a pico de gallo to finish this real quick.
Awesome.
All right, and we're going to make it. Mama, vámonos.
Excellent. So just diced
Tomato and some onion.
onion, gotcha.
Un poquito más.
Doing it by eye, I love it.
Yeah, by eye. Don't we do everything by eye? You know, who here cannot eat cilantro?
Oh, interesting question.
Okay, I'm trying to do like some kind of scientific. Why is it certain cultures cannot? By
They
that
say
I
it's
mean white
genetic
people.
now.
Oh, you heard that? Well, because it's white people that can't usually. It's
So soapy taste?
I never heard of a Mexican go, "Ay, no, sabe a jabón." No, they love it. So my scientific is it's
Well, there you go.
So do you eat cilantro?
I love cilantro, yeah.
Then you Mexican. All right, this right here is habaneros. It's hellaciously hot, but it's also the hotter the pepper, the better the flavor. So we're going to be very
Judicious.
poquito.
Got it.
All right. Could you just do a couple little things there?
Absolutely.
And again, the salt.
Salt.
Where's that sour orange? We're going to use sour orange for this pico, and a little bit of. This is the lime juice. And we just got a simple pico, right? This is, all right, so culinary Escoffier, there's a guy named Escoffier, who is the father of gastronomy, okay? That guy was in the 1800s, really. How can you be the father of anything in the 1800s? But having said that, Escoffier is credited with what we learn in culinary school, right? Could I get a little bit of a chote? What happened?
Yeah,
There we go.
there's some back there.
All right, this is what I'm going to do. Pork. I just want to smoke up the museum. There we go. A little salt. So this guy Escoffier comes up with the 5 mother sauces. Just give it a minute. Right, and the 5 mother sauces, you got the tomato sauce, you got the hollandaise sauce, you got a bechamel sauce. Nowhere is there a curry or a mole. But a curry and mole outdate, or any Chinese or Asian. So again, you know, I bet Escoffier didn't like cilantro. You have to be with your feet in the Americas to know the flavor. You know, the hotter the climate, the hotter the people, the hotter the flavors. And this is just pork we're going to cook. I wanted to show you what you can do with the chote, right?
And Chef, is this something that you would bring to a lowrider, park the show and tell us a little bit about like the food culture, like
Ready?
what happens?
All right.
Yeah.
We had a big, giant super show. Super show is like big. Is this on? Nice and hot? All right. I just got to get this going. And at the super show, everybody came back to our clubhouse, the Lowrider clubhouse. And I took a giant vat, it's called a disco, filled it up with oil, and just sat there and made tacos all night long, frying them. We had fried tacos. Sometimes that disco will come with us to events, and we will make fish tacos. We bring barbecues, grills, and we will make carne asada a lot. We make a lot of pots of pozole, menudo. I'm just adding some achiote here for the flavor, right?
Beautiful. Oh, and Chef, I wanted to let you know we have about 15 to 20 minutes
Perfect.
left in our,
That's all I need
our
to
demo and
eat.
combo.
Can you see that? Can you smell that first of all?
Smells so good.
You're getting closer to really knowing what it's like. All right, while this is cooking, if I can get that pork out, maybe we want to put it on top of this or something. Where do you want it? The pork. Yeah, before I do this.
So just pretend that we had slow roasted the pork for 8 to 12 hours. We're having a little TV magic here.
Yeah. Can you see that color it's getting? Have you guys know what al pastor is? Guess what? They put a little achiote in al pastor. Some places do, not all of them. All right, ready for this?
Woo. Look at that.
You smell that?
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah? Making you hungry? Okay, so we got the banana leaves, put them back. Look at that. And this right here is, that looks like barbecue to me if I ever saw something. Whoop. So we're gonna go ahead and plate and start heating up some tortillas. You can, let me hear from, where y'all from? Anybody? Yes?
San Francisco.
Yay.
Where else? Phoenix, Arizona.
Where? Orale, Phoenix in the house. 602 all the way.
I love
Hey,
that.
Chef, can you help me out with this? This is not my finger capacity here. Thank you. No, the tortillas. Es que no sirven las tortillas. You know, tortillas are from where? Let's see. Let's call them out. La Banderita, no, that's a big brand. At least it's not Goya. You know what I'm talking about. ¿De dónde son estos? Ole Mexican food from
That's good.
Norcross, Georgia. Yeehaw! Orale. You know, I got family in Georgia. I got family in South Carolina. I got family in Texas. I got family in, what is it? ¿Cómo se dice? Where's Dorothy from? We're not in Kansas anymore. Yeah, that's the one. Because we are chichimecas. We are migrant. We are nomadic. And we go where the flavor, where the work is at, like our ancestors did before us. And guess what? We survive, we thrive. My cousin, for example, has no documents to give her the privileges that y'all have. But my cousin, when I saw her in 2017, was cleaning houses. And she had 4 houses. And I said, Prima, why don't you start a business? Don't you know that you can get an LLC? And she went, see? So she started an LLC. She wrote to me last year. She started, yeah, nice and toasted, because that's how they taste better. And you're so smart, chefs. Look what she did. So she started an LLC, and she wrote to me this last year. She has like 30 houses now, and a whole fleet. And she still doesn't have her documents, but she's getting closer. And that's the American dream, right?
What do you need, Chef?
Capitalism. Thongs.
Tongs. I will get another pair for you real quick.
Here, okay. So here we go. Watch. Look at that.
You got it?
You gotta get that juguito, that juice from the bottom. They asked me what I want to do, my goals with the surgery. My answer was wipe my butt, but honestly, it's to ride my motorcycle even to drive my car. I'm not able to drive my lowrider right now because it does take a lot of body work. Okay, we're gonna bring this dish
that
right over
looks
here.
so
That
good.
looks so good. How's that pork doing? Is that pretty?
Coming along. Woo.
Where's the pickled onions and the pico? You got them where? Right over
We got
here.
them
Let's go over here in the
right
pretty
over here.
section.
All
Look at
right,
that.
We'll go to the pretty section.
With the lowriders and the achiote. Mira nomás, qué chulada. I know.
Got
Watch.
that.
Guáchale. That's not Mexican, that's Chicano. So let's talk about the language. Órale. That is pure raza. My mother would never say órale. Trust me. Okay, we got the pork. We got this beautiful habanero pico de gallo. You want to be
Gorgeous.
generous with that because that's your topping. And then we got these beautiful chef pickled onions. And if that's not enough, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of cotija and then because we're on this side of the Mississippi, a mature queso fresco. You know, you take for granted the closeness.
Those look good.
Ay! In Washington, D.C., man, lo que hice. I've heard this before. Thank you. I've heard this before. El mexicano es mexicano en la China, en Japón, en París, or in Washington, D.C. A Mexican's a Mexican anywhere. And here's the proof. This, again, folks, is the mother of barbecue. What we did over here is I just went ahead and cooked up some pork, and we're gonna make a taquito. Mira.
Woo. There you go.
Ándale, vámonos. Tenga su carita. Come on, chef. Now, what would happen if we were to add some chili paste to that and some soy? Now we're messing around in territories that really, do they belong together? Sure, why not? Can an Asian marry a Mexican? Of course. Anything and everything's possible. It's the intention behind it, folks. Okay? It's the intention behind it. ¿Qué voy a hacer con eso? Am I going to go open up a taqueria and make money out of something not supposed to be doing? Right? ¿Qué voy a hacer con eso? Comérmelo. Con su permiso.
Ooh, that looks good. Yum. Fantastic. Well, you're finishing up that bite, Chef. I do want to open up the to the audience for questions. If you have questions for Chef, our wonderful colleague, I see Magdalena out there with the microphone. Any questions you have, we're here to answer them the next few minutes before we have to wrap things up.
Any questions? Any comments?
For our next program.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you just wait for the microphone really quickly so everyone
Does that
can
say Chingona on your shirt? That's badass.
So the reason why some people can eat cilantro and some cannot is genetic. So you have that gene, it makes it taste like the Irish
Soap,
soap.
yeah.
And if you don't have that gene, then you can eat it and enjoy it.
And what is it a cultural gene? Or is it like white people thing or?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm curious.
You're either born able to eat it or not,
Huh.
and it doesn't change.
Okay. Yeah, I pretty much knew that, but I just didn't know which genetics.
Do we have a
curious.
geneticist in the audience?
I think that's awesome. And your shirt is awesome too.
Other questions? Trying to see. I think we have one in the back over on this side, James. Thank you.
Hi, Chef. I'm from Central California, and I grew up around the lowrider culture and cruising on Sundays.
Yep.
What was it about your experience? And I go back home now, and I don't have a lot of my friends that have left that culture or have become professional or have left like a barrio. What was it about your experience that took you from that culture and, sprung you into this world, like this professional world? Like, what was it in your life that shaped you that way?
It's the other way around. You looked at my mother, you would think, who is she? My parents were always well dressed. They were business people. They had bakeries. They were well to do. My mother was appalled that I was out cruising. That's not my culture. I didn't live in the barrio. I went to an all-white school. However, fortunately, my mother was eres mexicana, y te vas a quedar mexicana. So I was raised as a Mexican. So that cultura didn't have lowriding. However, I did it on my own because my peers in high school, I could see them. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. So we would go preaching into the migrant camps. Planada, La Grande, all the small towns around where I grew up. Our customer base at the bakery, where I worked since 6, we were privileged because we had the bakery, but we still had to work, were the farm worker. The lowrider culture only started in the mid-70s in Merced, where I'm from, and I was part of it. I was already cruising. I got my license in 1976, and that I was one of the first ones to lower a car in Merced and put spokes on it. But it wasn't, I got out of it, and I just wrote a book and I talk about it. I got out of it because it was patriarch. I'm equal to all of us. You, sir, and I are equal. And in the patriarch, I wasn't allowed, so therefore I walked away. I came back when the playing ground was a little bit more even. A little bit more even, I entered back, and then I made it even. And I'm still making it even. Right now, I'm waiting for permission to ride my motorcycle as a viclero, which is another new way of lowriding through motorcycles. And I'm waiting for permission. And again, I'm standing like, why am I waiting so long? I fit all the categories. Is it because I'm a woman? And I will fight for that. They might not like it. It's 2023 now. Let's go. So, any other questions? Now, low riding, folks, see, that could be a misconception. The barrio is not the ghetto, it's a neighborhood. Low riding is not a gang, it's a culture. It's not socioeconomic, poor people. Everybody low rides, okay? We have the same cars you do, except we put rims on them. Having said that, I thank you. It's been an honor to be here. If I perhaps have changed a little bit of your perceptions, that was my goal. We are a vast culture. We are the people who gave you birth control, color TV, barbecue, and we do your lawns, yes. But we are also your doctors, your teachers. We're everything. We are all equal, folks, and we're striving for that. So I thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Phoenix. Oh. Monday.
That's a great question, and I'm happy to share that our museum cafe downstairs is offering the cochinita pibil for a lunch special, so you can head down to the cafe and purchase that for your lunch. But these up here are unfortunately not available for taste testing, as much as we would love that to be a possibility.
Sorry, mijo.
So I think we have one more question, and then we'll wrap things up. So if we can take that. We'll get there.
Make sure you go to the Latino gallery over here.
Absolutely.
Read everything.
Hello, so I'm from Marymount University. I'm the cooking president, and I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for young chefs to get better?
Young chefs to get better, yeah. Don't think you know everything. don't think, because something happens when you put these on. Se te sube la cabeza, it goes to your head. I've seen it, I've witnessed it. Remain always teachable. And then what they've taught you in the program is only a base. Pick any degree. You're always going to go and keep adding to your education. Pick a field that you want to dive into, and then become the expert in that. Don't let people tell you how it's done. You show them how it's done. But most importantly, remain teachable and humble. Food, and remember this, food is not a competition. Food is a labor of love. There are people who are toiling right now, working the fields, so you can have that food to work with, right? So you can have a career as a chef. That is no joke. That farm to table starts with the gente in the fields. So don't forget that. And as long as we're all respected, then it's a field. Unfortunately, what happens is what? There's one guy that's I'm the chef, and everybody else, the truth is it takes a whole team, a whole vertebrae to make it happen. You're just going to be the face of it. Okay? Stay humble. Don't think you're all that.
I'm also Mexican, so Viva Mexico.
Viva Mexico, cabrones. No, pues. All right, no, I have to say this, and I'm going to take 5 more minutes. I don't care. Here's the deal, mijo. If you take up space, and then Rick Bayless isn't going to be there. All right? And not against Rick Bayless. He did an excellent job. Go, Rick. I'm saying, ¿qué fregados tiene que ver Rick Bayless con la comida mexicana, with the Mexican culture? Because it's not just learning the recipes, it's feeling it. It's your DNA, it's knowing it. It's your abuelita going, hey, come, estás muy flaco. Hey, ¿ya comiste? You know, that ya comiste, come, the olla de frijoles always, the tamalada with the family. It's the culture, it's the love. That's what makes it so good. It's the history. Aprende tu cultura and then honor it. Man, you're the best thing that happened today, okay? Thank you. Gracias, mijo. Gracias a ustedes.
Thank you so much, Chef. One big round of applause for Chef. And remember, we do have the Cochinita Pibil down in the Museum Cafe. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate, us bringing back the kitchen to you here at the Museum of American History. And if you're interested in more food history programs, we actually have Smithsonian Food History Weekend happening October 13 and 14. Find one of the staff members after the program. We're happy to provide you more info. Objects out of storage. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you, gracias. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you.